I heard a lot of people talking about this miter gauge from Go and Make, so I got me one here in the shop. I grabbed another little thing for the table saw. So let's check these out and see what all the hype is about. A good miter gauge isn't going to do any good if your blade's crooked. So I went ahead and I picked up one of these blade adjustment or alignment tools. And that way we can make sure that the blade is properly aligned with our miter tracks. Just like with all of the Go and Make tools, they come with instructions. We got one screw, put our dial indicator onto our guide here. We slide this off, and then we come up here on that track. And now with this track here, that thing is solid, and then this is pretty solid even without it being tightened down. You know, they've got some pretty tight tolerances on that. All right, so I've got my indicator here on 0, and now the increments here are 0.01 millimeter. And we're going to slide this, and I mean, as we come across, and I am back right at 0. I mean, I can't get any better than that. So I went from 0 to 0, so I know my blade is good and square. Just like with all the other Go and Make tools I've received, this thing is built high quality, super fine tolerances. I love the black and white. The only thing that I would say about this particular tool is that the dial indicator is in millimeters. So if we are going from 0 to 10, that's only 0.1 millimeter, which is actually only 4 thousandths of an inch. So, you know, if you see this thing move and it's 10, you're like, oh, you know, 10, if you're inches, you know, that would be a lot, but it's actually, you know, being its millimeters. So just be sure to convert your measurements into standard imperial measurements if you're not used to the metric. All right, now let's get into the tool that I was really wanting to get after. Just like with all the Go and Make tools, it's got a manual. This one, unlike some of the little squares, it's actually got a pretty in-depth manual here because this thing can do so much. We got 17 pages of instructions for a miter gauge. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my T-track here and make sure that I'm tight, which I'm not. And all you have to do then is tighten up these screws here, and they're going to spread out those lock washers or split washers or whatever you want to call them. And that is going to tighten this up to our track here. Now it doesn't take a lot to go from too loose to too tight. So you want to go ahead and put it in there. Make sure you get it to where there's no left or right. But you also see from here, that's just that little bit makes that almost not wanting to move in just a little bit. Next, we're just going to want to take our fence, and we've got this big old bar right here, and loosen up our two little knobs back there so we got enough room, and then we slide this on. Now, if you need, you see these little tabs right here? You've got 4 of them. That goes left to right, up and down, and that is if you was to need to adjust this out to get it perfectly square. You know, that gives you basically an infinite number of ways that you can adjust this. So once we get it on here, we'll get it back in our miter track. Now I really like the fact that they've got like a little magnifying glass with a little indicator pointer in there to where you can make sure you're at exactly what you want. Now this little pin right here, this is spring loaded. You can pull it back and lock it, loosen off there, and you can rotate. And then with the little sight glass there, this thing will go 60 degrees. Actually, it says 60, but it really goes almost 65 degrees in either direction. And then you can lock that down. Or if you put it right here, it's got the 11 most common locks. And as you can see, the 11 common locks are not just little holes that are drilled in there, but actual steel inserts that are machined into the aluminum housing, so that whenever this goes and you pop it, that thing locks in and it's rock solid even without locking this down. And once you lock that down, you're not going to have any movement. You're going to get those perfect angles every time. Now it comes with this little extension piece on it, and what this is for is if you want it to put in a sacrificial accessory board across here, you know, you can just clamp it right into this track here, and what that will do is this will extend it out so that you'll get a good area with the accessory board on there. But I'm just going to use mine like that so I can take that off. It comes down there and you've got your positive stop, and then even with that stop there, you know, going this far down, all of them's going to have just a slight bit of give to them, but we have this piece back here that we can actually come in, and if we're really trying to get super precision, and we can put that behind there, and that way we have zero give on this bottom piece and we can get that perfect alignment. And talking about getting that perfect exact alignment, when we come here, we again have the little like magnifying glass with the crosshairs in there, and this scale is metric and standard. But also once you lock it down and then you want to run your board up there and it's not quite exactly where you want it at, you have this micro adjustment here. So we can rotate this here, and even with this locked in solid, we can move micro amounts, and this is broken down to 0.025 millimeter or 0.001. So one of these lines is a thousandth of an inch. So there is absolutely no reason why you should not be able to get that perfect measurement, you know, when this thing is one, rock solid, and two, can give you these fine adjustments down to the thousandths of an inch. So this miter gauge has got one more trick up its sleeve, and you know, the miter gauge itself is only about 20 inches long. That's what we got on our indicator here. It goes up to 20 inches. What if you need to cut a board that's longer than 20 inches? Well, in that case, then what you would do is you loosen up your stop, bring your stop all the way down, and there's a catch right there. And then once that gets into there, now instead of using our indicator on the back, we're going to start using the sight glass down here, and this whole thing can come out. So now we can come all the way out here 36 inches and still have our accuracy of moving our thousandths of an inch at a time, so we can still be super accurate. You know, we've got our indicator, we're just using this different sight glass once we get past the 20 inches. Now I have been using this miter gauge a little bit, and so far I have not found a single thing that I could complain about or even remotely ask them to do differently. If there's something you can think of, put it in the comments and I will let them know. But for me to be able to have a 100% solid, accurate miter gauge, I mean, this thing is, you don't even need to do a sled really, you know, with this thing. I mean, it works so fantastic. And be able to go out here 36 inches and lock that in and be able to make adjustments of 100 thousandths of an inch and still be deadly accurate, that is just absolutely amazing. And you know, it doesn't work if your blade ain't straight. That's why we got the blade adjustment tool there. So if you don't have a good miter gauge yet, definitely take and check the description. I'll leave a link down there, and let's get them while we can, because right now they still have them. I checked on Amazon and they're still in the US stock, so there's no price increase on these yet, and hopefully it stays like that. But for now, there's a great tool at a great price, and until next time, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.